This is PIX on Politics Daily with Dan Mannarino.
Hey everybody, welcome to PIX on Politics Daily. It is Monday, November 17th. Hopefully everybody had a fantastic weekend. I know we saw a drop in temperature, so it's a little cold out there, right? Don't forget interviewing the mayor-elect, Zoran Mamdani, on Wednesday this week, and I want to hear from you on the questions you'd like me to bring directly to him for our wide-ranging conversation that we will bring you on Wednesday. So continue to send me some of your questions, and when I sit down with him, the mayor-elect, on Wednesday, I will bring those questions directly to him to hopefully get you some answers. In the meantime, this morning, if you're watching the PIX Morning News, we talked about how Mayor Eric Adams was over in Israel right now. He is out of town. But there's a lot going on between him and the city council right now, right? Things that were passed in the city council that he vetoed, and they can override the veto. And this has kind of been this back and forth that we've seen play out with the city council and Mayor Adams in the last couple of months. We had the speaker of the city council on most recently talking about some of these issues that they've been having with the mayor's office, right? One of them is now the council planning to override the mayor's veto to avoid these rent hikes for housing voucher users. There's a lot going into this, and I know it's a big topic for so many. So let me bring in the city council's deputy speaker, Diana Ayala, right now, talk more about this. So Deputy Speaker, great to have you here.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Of course. So tell me a little bit about what this was that you passed that then the mayor vetoed, and then now you're able to override the veto.
Yeah. So the administration proposed a change in rules that would increase the amount that a family, the share that a family would pay in rent while they had a city voucher subsidy. And so our bill would prohibit that increase, right, which was 30%, and the city's proposing raising it to 40%. It would cap it at the 30%. And the reason that we did that is because ideally, Section 8, city FEPs, public housing, they're all capped at 30%, and that's based off of your gross income, okay, which is already pretty significant. To raise it to 40% for working families would impose a serious rental burden and could potentially put these families back in shelter.
So the mayor comes out. Was he ever in support of it?
He was never in support of it.
He was never in support of it. Okay, I only asked that because there were some things that he was in support of that he then kind of pulled back on, and then you guys passed it and then vetoed it. Some of it was involving the licenses for vendors and so on and so forth. The mayor is now saying that it needs funds for the program's rising costs. What do you say to that?
Listen, I agree. I think that in order to make it sustainable, they need more resources, more funding. But I believe that there are other ways for us to do this without having to put families back, potentially into shelter, which is way more expensive. Yeah. I think that the 30%, and I think even even in my conversations with the mayor, he agreed that this is only applicable to families that have been on the program for 5 years. So after the 5th year, if they renew, they would have to pay 40%, which is a 10% increase. And those, but not that much has changed with these families in 5 years. And the mayor acknowledged that in our conversations, like he understood that to be, a factor. And yet he's in favor of, vetoing this bill that could potentially keep families housed.
So the first deputy mayor, Randy Master, who's kind of in charge right now while the mayor is out of town, he said the bill is an attempt to undermine any future mayor's authority. Do you agree with that?
I don't agree with anything that comes out of Randy Mastro's mouth, and I think that he is way off here. Obviously, he doesn't understand. I happen to have personal experiences with the voucher system. I was the product of public housing, had Section 8, and I was able to keep a roof over the head of my children. When the city FEPS, the Jiggets program rendition was out, and so I understand these programs well. I know the impact that they have on families. I know what it is to have to pay 30% of your income, which is an entire check. For families that are in low income, and that's working families too, right? Working poor families cannot afford that, and he wouldn't understand that because that's not his life. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. So what happened? So you override the veto, and then it moves forward. The plan moves forward.
It moves. That's right, absolutely. And this specific bill was passed with a veto-proof majority. So we look forward to to passing it again.
And so
overriding that veto.
And so can you kind of walk me through what happens now? Because we're in this transition period, right, where you can still take action, but now we have a new mayor coming in as well, and where the mayor-elect stands on this.
Well, I have not had a conversation with the mayor-elect, but I assume that based on his housing policy, that this is something that he would support. And again, we're not disagreeing on, the fact that in order to make this growing, voucher system sustainable, that there needs to be more funding allocated to it. But I think that the new mayor probably will be more open to having conversations about where that funding stream comes from, so that we're not continuing to press on families that cannot afford to pay, the additional 10%.
And that brings me to kind of where we are right now in this transition period. And there's a lot of things going on within the council as well, one of them being a speaker's race. So what are your thoughts right now on the speaker's race? I know that there are some front runners that have come to kind of to the front of the line out of Somos, right? You have Julie Menon being one of them, Crystal Hudson being one of them. Where do you stand?
I mean, I support women. I support women of color. I think that it should be a person of color. I think that we have some really spectacular women that are running, and any one of them would make a fabulous speaker. So I'm like the rest of you, kind of watching and giving advice when needed, and some guidance. Having run for speaker myself last term, I understand a little bit of the dynamics, and it's a very interesting race with a lot of outside influences. It's not easy, but I think that the candidates have been doing a really spectacular job about working in unison and trying to figure out ways to move the body forward.
There was this conversation that came out of Somos, and I'm sure you saw it, right? It was a video of you talking to a crowd, and how somebody once said that you weren't smart enough to be speaker, and people were assuming you were talking about Julie Menon. Was it?
Yes.
So did you ever have a conversation with her about that? How did that kind of come to be, and that working relationship happen after you found that out?
I mean, listen, we've had a wonderful, I wouldn't say wonderful, but we have a working professional, relationship. She's always been, a very, professional individual. I don't have any complaints about, having her as a colleague. We don't interface as much, but yes, we did have that conversation at Somos, ironically enough, that year, and she denied it, but several sources whom she spoke to can attest to the fact that it was said. And I brought it up because I think it's important that we acknowledge that even though we come from different worlds, and maybe I don't come from an Ivy League college, and I don't come from a family with a wealth of resources, that I'm still in the same room making the same decisions as those that are in, and that I bring a particular flavor and experience that is innate to me, because those experiences that we're championing have been personally mine, and you can't undermine that. And I think it's just disrespectful to the many New Yorkers who, like me, grew up in poverty, who have struggled to go get an education, to be able to raise families. And to say that we're not smart enough because we may look different, we may sound a little bit different, I think is a disservice to most of the New Yorkers that the next speaker is going to represent.
And not to rehash it all, but and she denies it, but she said that directly to you, or you heard through the grapevine?
No. She did not say that directly to me. She said it to other folks who then also had their share of conversations with her. And I did approach her about it. It was not a pleasant conversation, obviously. She denied it. But I believe that it was said. There were multiple people who that was shared with.
And so when you say you support women, you're not supporting her?
I'm not supporting her, no.
Crystal Hudson is your choice?
Yeah, I was supporting Crystal. I was supporting Amanda.
Yeah.
Initially, yes. Those were my
it's so
candidates.
Interesting with the speaker's race, and I know it's like so inside baseball for people on the outside looking in, right? But it could very well be none of these names, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't like Adrienne Adams not on the short list in the beginning, and she kind of came up.
That's right.
It's like when you vote for, when everybody goes in thinking that the Pope's going to be a pope, and then you come out and it's a totally different name than everybody thought.
That's absolutely correct. Things change by the day, by the hour, by the minute. In the next few weeks, you're probably going to see a lot of movement. Ideally, a speaker is selected first, second week of December, which is not too far from now. So there should be a lot of activity happening. But you're absolutely right. There's no way to determine until the end who the speaker is going to be. And I think we have a lot of really fantastic individuals that are running, including Julie Menin. Julie Menin is a very smart, individual who can do the work. She has shown that she has experience. She's been around for a long time. I just do not support some of her values and some of the things that she has expressed, and I don't think that they represent all New Yorkers.
The council and Eric Adams currently are a bit at odds. And how do you anticipate a working relationship with the mayor-elect, Zohran Mamdani?
Oh my God, it's already very different. I mean, he hasn't even, officially taken office yet, and he's very responsive. He's open to, ideas. He's, he's open to getting suggestions, and that, is a very important management tool, right? Because if you don't understand the people, the communities, and the issues, how do you then, manage a city the size of New York City? And I think that, Mayor Adams, unfortunately, we didn't hit the ground running, and it was a very bumpy relationship from the beginning. And we were unfortunately unable to accomplish as much as we could have had we, figured out a way to really embrace that relationship in the way that it should have been. And it doesn't mean that we have to be agreeable all the time, but it means that, we work together, and it didn't always feel that way from, City Hall. And
what's next for you?
I don't know. I'm still out here looking and, exploring. I would love to be able to stay in the social services field. It's something that I'm very passionate about, the mental health stuff, the opioid crisis.
Would you take a job in the administration?
I would.
Yeah. And none of those conversations have happened.
No. I mean, I haven't, full disclosure, I have submitted an application like many New Yorkers. I think 50,000 of us have applied. And we'll see. But I'm exploring other options as well. I just want it to be something that I feel, that my experiences can contribute to, and something that, will make a change, and that I'm happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Keep me posted on both the housing voucher thing and then what's next for you as well. We're interested. So keep us posted. Always good to see you.
Thank you. Likewise.
All right, everybody, don't forget, send me your questions for Zohran Mamdani. I'm talking to him on Wednesday, and that'll do it for Picks and Politics Daily. I'll see you next time.